What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is day 7 of the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. The beer I'm reviewing today comes from the Burlington Beer Company, and they are out of Burlington, Vermont, and this is their Pumpkin Spice Mochaccino, the 2024 release. So this is a, wait for it, pumpkin spice latte inspired beer brewed with coffee, chocolate, vanilla, pumpkin, milk sugar, aka lactose, and spices. It comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, and this can is approximately 7 weeks old, and I picked this one up at Halftime Beverage via halftimebeverage.com. So in the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that I grabbed, and I picked up 20 beers in total. 5 of those were pumpkin beers, and all 5 are being reviewed during the 10 Days of Pumpkin this year. And when I saw this one, I was like, this has like the kitchen sink in it. I have to grab this and I need to review it. It's been a while since I've reviewed a Burlington beer. Very hit or miss here in the Western New York area, more specifically Buffalo, New York. We don't see a ton of their stuff as much anymore. However, I know they have a mochaccino beer that is basically this beer sans the pumpkin and spices. I believe the base is kind of like it's supposed to be like a white stout, which is like basically a blonde or golden ale with coffee and chocolate, which this has in it. And a lot of times places will also throw in vanilla. So I think they just add like the pumpkin and the spices for this one. Sounds pretty wild. I hope it tastes like a pumpkin spice latte because I enjoy those, but usually only 1 or 2 per season because, you know, a little high in calories, a little bit just, you know, too much of a good thing sometimes. So we're going to crack this one open, get in the glass, see what we got going on here. We'll use the Elysian Pour the Gourd glass because one of my favorite coffee beers, or coffee pumpkin beers, Elysian's Punkaccino. I mentioned that already, but have to mention it again. We're going to give it a pour here. So yeah, this is definitely a lighter beer, no doubt. But wow, it's pouring out. That's a beautiful looking lighter beer. Throw this over here. So that looks absolutely fucking spectacular in the glass. Like it has, now on camera it's probably gonna be a little bit more of like a darker orange, but in person it has this sunshine orange. It just looks beautiful, very vibrant. Almost a 2-finger of like, it looks like a nitro head. It's so compact and creamy. There is some bigger bubbles, but just the way it pours and the way it's sticking around with all those adjuncts, the fact that head's sticking around is amazing because usually adjuncts, specific adjuncts anyway, kill the heads of beers. This is not happening. You can see the shadow of my hand through it, but you can't really make anything out because it has a lot of fine particulates. There's a lot of floaties, holy shit. Most of them are very small, minute, but some of them a little bit bigger chunks. But yeah, that looks wild. It looks fantastic in this glass as well. If you gave me a pumpkin beer that looked like that, I'm all right with it. Anyway, let's get a nose. Yeah, it smells like coffee. Hang on. It smells like mocha. Hey now. Yeah, it's coffee, it's chocolate, it's vanilla. Holy shit. This smells lovely. This definitely smells like some kind of mochaccino or like just a mocha in general. Like it has coffee. It's like a medium roasted coffee in the nose. Like it has a nice vibrancy to it, intensity, almost a little bit of like a pretty big roast quality. But then there's chocolate, more of like a sweeter dark chocolate, touch of vanilla. Here's the thing, not really getting the pumpkin over the spices. And this is one of the more fresher beers from this year. This is 7 weeks old. It's starting to smell like, you know, like one of those pumpkin spice lattes you would get from a Starbucks or, you know, a local coffee roaster. There's a pretty big, again, can't smell sweetness, but there's a pretty big perceived sweetness in the nose that just smells like what this little guy is right here. You know, it's a pumpkin spice latte. It kind of has that. So what they're going for is kind of what I'm smelling. Here's the problem. The spices aren't as noticeable as I would hope. Now I went back, I just said that, and guess what? I just got some nutmeg. A little bit of nutmeg and allspice. That's wild. I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I don't smell the spices go right. As the beer opens up and whatnot. I mean, I'm drinking this a little bit warmer because I figured, you know, with these adjuncts and just the flavors and the aromas, I don't want it ice cold. And I'm glad I have. So yeah, it just smells like a pumpkin spice latte in beer form, 7%. Like I can't even tell this is a beer. It has, it's chocolate, it's coffee, it's pumpkin spice, a little bit of vanilla. Like, yeah, it smells awesome. I don't think aroma-wise, if you pick this beer up and you start smelling it, you'd be disappointed because it smells exactly how, exactly what they're going for. Pumpkin spice latte in beer form. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Never go back for seconds because my palate's all over the place. It's a nice beer. It's tasty. There's something on the finish that I'm trying to pick up on, and it's kind of eluding me. Anyway, body on this one for 7%. Medium body, fine. Maybe a touch thin, but nothing really to complain about. Mouthfeel, mild to moderately carbonated. Has a nice smoothness to it, a little bit of a creamy sensation, kind of what you expect. So body and mouthfeel are a-okay with me. The taste, forefront's definitely mocha. There's again a roasted coffee. There's chocolate, sweet or dark chocolate that kind of intertwine at the beginning of the palate and give me mocha vibes for sure. Midway through the palate, I get vanilla, and then the pumpkin spices start to kind of creep in a bit. Definitely nutmeg and allspice, maybe a touch of cinnamon, but nutmeg and allspice are kind of really hitting me midway through the palate. Like it's certainly the nutmeg. On the finish, this is one of the few beers that I've had so far in the 10 Days of Pumpkin, being on day 7, where it's definitely leans quite sweet. I think the culprit here is the milk sugar, aka the lactose. Probably could have done without that for me personally, because otherwise I think this beer balances out and that spice character kind of dries it out. This is semi-dry, very mild bitterness, but this leans sweet. And I think the lactose is kind of putting it over. And I don't notice, and I don't feel like the lactose has really done a lot to the body and mouthfeel. Maybe I'm wrong, but the body is a bit thin as is, a touch thin, and the mouthfeel isn't spectacular, but it's okay. So I don't know, maybe they're just trying to kick up the sweetness because a pumpkin spice latte typically pretty sweet. I don't know. For me, it's a little bit too sweet to say that like I would want to drink more than a can of this, or maybe not even the whole can. But anyway, let's go back in. I think the fact they're using pumpkin and lactose, I would have thought the body and the mouthfeel would be a little bit better. It's really not. But it's hard to knock this beer for what they're going for, because I think they've done a pretty fucking fantastic job going for a pumpkin spice latte in beer form. You get the mocha vibes. You get the spices from the pumpkin pie spices they throw in here. It's a beer at 7%. Like, it's a beer version of a pumpkin spice latte. So they've done a fucking pretty damn good job with it. Just personal preference, which is what these reviews are. It's not hitting me in the feels as much as I think this beer has hit the mark for what they're going for. So again, 7%, I can't even tell there's warming in the chest, nothing on the palate, so highs the alcohol well. There's some good things and there's some bad things here. The good things are the coffee and chocolate, very prominent, noticeable. Vanilla's there a little bit. The spices are there. Is it a pumpkin spice latte in beer form? Yes, it is. The negatives for me, body's a bit thin and it's a bit too sweet. I've talked about some of the other beer, a couple other beers leaning like 60-40 sweetness to dryness and bitterness. This is like 75-25. It's not cloying, okay? So like, it's hard to decipher for me what is a cloying beer. And a cloying beer to me is something that you take a handful of sips and you're just like, the sweetness just dominates. The sweetness doesn't dominate here, but it leans sweet to the point where like, I know by the time I finish this can, or maybe even get like halfway through this glass, so maybe like 3/4 of the way through the beer, it might get cloying to that at that point. But like, as we speak right now, it's not off-putting. It's just, I know it leans a little bit sweeter. It's nice. It's a nice beer. You know, I sit here, I critique it. That's what reviews are. Good, the bad, how you feel about it. Personal preference is what I always give a rating for. So I'm going to give this my personal preference rating. However, I'm going to give it not a stylistic rating, although I guess you could say, but let's say, what is a rating for this in terms of a pumpkin spice latte inspired beer? I think it's like a 4.5 out of 5. I think they've done a fantastic job with it. You pretty much get everything you get in a pumpkin spice latte, but in beer form. For me, though, a bit too sweet. Body's a little bit disappointing. So my own personal preference, the Pumpkin Spice Mochaccino, the 2024 release from Burlington, I'm going to give this a straight 4 out of 5. So yes, it's a half point lower than what I would give it as far as did they nail what they're going for. So look at this one of two ways. If you like pumpkin spice lattes and you're okay with the sweetness and you don't mind the body being a little thin, then you're going to love this fucking beer. Otherwise, You might not, because it is a sweeter pumpkin beer and probably the most sweet. It definitely is the most sweet pumpkin beer I've had so far this year of all the pumpkin beers I've done during 10 Days of Pumpkin and the one Western New York Wednesday beer I did from the New York Beer Project. This is the sweetest of the bunch, but it's still good. It's still enjoyable. I'm going to drink the rest of that. Hopefully I can put the rest of it down. Hopefully it doesn't get too, too cloying and just too sweet. One thing I did forget to mention when I saw this on the can when I picked it up, they actually list the ingredients on this. So that's something like you see in like Canada where they list ingredients. There's not a law here. You don't have to do it, but they do list ingredients. So barley, oats, coffee, chocolate, vanilla, pumpkin, milk sugar, aka lactose, spices, hops, and yeast. So there's no natural flavors here. They actually list the ingredients, and I think that's cool as hell. So kudos to Burlington for that. I would love to see more breweries do that, knowing that I'm actually drinking the beer with authentic ingredients as opposed to natural or even artificial flavors. Like, it's cool. Price point availability. I picked this one up, like I said, halftimebeverage.com. $6.49 a can. Would I ever pay that again? I would not. I would assume locally in Vermont, if this makes distro, probably looking at like $20 a 4-pack. I don't know if anybody out there has picked this one up in prior years or this year. Let me know. $20 a 4-pack, I think it'd be okay with it. 7%, all those adjuncts, $5 a can will be fine. $6.49 a can, no, but halftime beverage is a bit more expensive. I knew that going in. I don't mind it because I got a chance to try this. I've never seen this here locally in the Buffalo, New York area. And availability is Burlington. What does that mean? Your guess is as good as mine. Here in Buffalo, like I said, they've been hit or miss over the past couple of years. We used to see a lot of their stuff, then it started to trickle out, then it's come back a little bit. I haven't seen a lot of their beers in the past 6 months to a year, so you can check out their website. Maybe they have a beer finder. I don't really know. I didn't check it out, but I like Burlington stuff. The last beer I reviewed from them, I think, was their Raspberry Whale Cake a couple years back, and since then, I haven't really seen anything. So I need to review more of their beers if I do see them, because I do like Burlington stuff. We just don't see it as often. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. Like I said, 4 out of 5 personal preference, 4.5 out of 5 for what they're going for. And I would recommend this to anybody who likes pumpkin spice lattes and you like, obviously, craft beer. It's a match made in heaven for those folks. For myself, I do enjoy it, but I think this is 100% a one and done beer for me. Like if I had this once every year, I'd be okay with it, but I wouldn't want a 4-pack of it. I wouldn't even want multiple cans. I think I'm just kind of done after this glass. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Tomorrow is day 8, and it is Headless Oarsman from Graysail of Rhode Island. Never reviewed anything from them. They're known for their Captain's Daughter. I think that's an IPA or a double IPA. It might be a double IPA. Yeah, I've had that beer before, but I've had nothing else from them. So I'm curious to see how that is. I think it's like a 6.2% pumpkin ale, just regular pumpkin ale. And yeah, we're getting close to the end. 3 days left, but I enjoy this every year. It's been a lot of fun so far. Some really good beers. And yeah, I'm going to shut this one down. So again, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Check back tomorrow for day 8. And until then, cheers. Did I say 7%? Can't really tell. I think I did, but you can't. Cheers.